Hey, what up, y'all? Mr. Cruz here, the littest teacher you never had, back with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I use Arcade as a sampler. So in case you didn't know, all those loops and stuff like that that you hear in Arcade are actual samples that they dropped in and they edited in Arcade. So I'm going to show you guys how you can do that using your own samples. So I kind of go through these periods where I enjoy sampling from like old records, or I'm like enjoying making originals, or I'm enjoying collab. I'm kind of in a season where I'm feeling like doing some sampling. So since I've gotten Arcade, and I love Arcade so much, yo, Arcade is the sauce. Arcade is the truth. I'm going to show you guys how you can use your own samples in order to get to do stuff in there. So let's go ahead and take a listen to what we got. So specifically, we're listening to this right here. This was the sample. All right. And so for that sample, I actually used like an old gospel record that sounded, let me see if I can find the original up here. Let's see. I think it's this one right here. Yep. All right, so I took that sample and all I did was, let me see if I can get Arcade. So here goes Arcade. I'm gonna have to kind of do this a little bit off screen just because it's not gonna be big enough to, yeah. Oh, never mind. Yeah, it's kind of not gonna work. So all I'm doing is I got a folder. It's kind of in the back. I've got it up here off screen just so that I can drag the sample. So in Arcade, right, this is like a user kit because I've always saw this and I never knew what it did. And I was always so curious. And then I kind of found time to do it. So I took that sample and I literally dragged and dropped it into each one of these keys. I figure the more, the merrier. I'd rather have a space with the sample to do an additional edit than to want to do an additional edit and then not have that key already there and triggered. So inside here, I set all of my like loop parts, right? So you can kind of see how I change the start point of each one of these. And to me, this was a lot easier. Previously, I had been using the NNXT Advanced Sampler that comes stock with Reason. And even though that sampler is dope, it's awesome, this is kind of something that it lacked. Like every single time that I had to do a chop, I had to literally export an audio file and then drag that chop in. And it was just a lot more complicated than it needed to be. So in Arcade, you can kind of do this on the fly and a lot easier. And you kind of have these amp envelopes that you can kind of manipulate on each one of these samples individually. So that was also cool. The thing that you might be kind of worried about is finding the key. So I found the key and the tempo 3 different ways. One way is I did it myself manually. So I played the sample and then I hit the tap tempo to find out what the BPM is. The second way was I used a website. I think it's like Song Key Finder. I don't remember exactly, but I'll do the research and I'll drop the link in the description. So you can literally, I drop the chop that I have right there. So this, what you heard, let's see if I can, right? That chop, I dropped that little thing in there and it found the BPM and the song key for me. And then I dropped it into Arcade to a third different way to see what it would be. And if I can find, I don't know where it would be. Maybe in Advanced? Yes. All right. So when you drop a sample in Advanced, it'll automatically, I think it gave me an option here to automatically find the song key and everything. So I would say out of all of the ways, I mean, I personally would rely on doing it the manual way to find that, because I know my ears and I know the skill that I have to be able to do that. So I would depend on that first. However, between the song key website and dropping it into Arcade, I think it was 1 BPM off. So to me, that's really, really good. Because I think Arcade detected it at like 91 BPM, and it was actually 92. I ended up having to change it after the fact. So this was super dope. And then of course, like, you know, you can do your typical things in Arcade, like you can change the speed, you can change the key and all that stuff, and that was immensely helpful. So yeah, so after I did that, I just kind of, you know, had the chops in there and played around with the keys to kind of come up with the loop that you hear in the beat. You know, and then that the rest is history, you know. So again, Arcade, super dope sampler. I was actually on the fence about getting Serato sampler because I didn't want to get it because it will work on my desktop. I'm sorry, it'll work on my laptop, but it won't work on my desktop because my desktop is too old. And now that I found this out in Arcade, I'm definitely gonna stick with this. So anyways, yeah, there you go. That's something dope that I got to experiment with this weekend, and it turned out to be fire. So I'm definitely gonna be using Arcade as a sampler from now on. So hopefully this is helpful to you guys. Let me know in the comments below if you have Arcade or if you've ever used it as a sampler, because using it as a sampler is real dope. All right, this is your boy Mr. Cruz, out.